The H2O Show
on BBC Radio Solent.
Good afternoon, I'm Shelley Jory-Leigh.
And I'm Tracey Clarke.
And this week we brought the programme to Southampton docks and we're recording at Seawork International. So, TC, the last time we were together, we were walking around the City of London with some crazy girl.
Yes, that crazy girl was, of course, Natasha Lambert. It was at the end of her latest challenge, which was Capital Venture. I know you were deeply involved in doing all the support work and getting all the guys to do the support vessel. And Natasha, of course, the young lady, nearly 18 now, who has cerebral palsy, but in spite of that does so many things, manages to sail just using her breath alone, and of course swapped her boat at St Catherine's Dock and went walking around the City of London, and you and I found ourselves either side of her, and I thought it was an amazing day.
I think it is. She amazes us all the time, but I think people don't realise how severely damaged Natasha is, and she won't mind me saying this because Natasha has cerebral palsy to the worst extent. She can't even give herself a drink of water. She can't even speak or communicate to us. And when you say she's just walked around the City of London or sailed from Cowes to up the Thames, that is incredible.
Yeah, and her walker that she uses, it is incredible. She has very limited movement, but in her walker, which is, I guess, a bit like a giant baby walker, she propels herself. And boy, did she propel herself. I was exhausted trying to keep up with her. We got to the Bank of England and we all said, that's fine, Tash, you've done it all. And then she said, no, turn around, let's all go back again. So, an amazing time. Very special days.
Very special day. It wasn't actually in the plan. We all thought we were going to get a taxi back.
And of course, just recently, she's been awarded the British Empire Medal for her services to charity, so incredible.
Yeah, very, very proud. Well, before we head off and explore the exhibition, let's catch up with the Managing Director of Mercator Media, the company behind Seawork International, Leanne Stewart. Now, you've lost your voice, haven't you? So you've obviously been working extremely hard, and it is very busy here.
It has been. Actually, as the 3 days have gone, my voice has got very, very hoarse. But that does mean to say that it's because a lot of people are chatting, networking, speaking, and I've actually been involved with that, and it's been absolutely brilliant 3 days.
Has it, Seaworks has grown so much over, is it the past 18 years it's been going?
18 years we've been actually running this show, yes, and predominantly it's grown. In the early days around about 10%. In the last few years it's been going up by 20%. And by this time, the 18th time that we've done Seawork International, we're sold out from April.
I've been coming to Seaworks for the past 4 years for the H2O Show, which has been absolutely fantastic. And I've watched it grow and grow. Today is Thursday. The show is closing this evening, but there's a massive buzz. There's still loads of people here. We couldn't get parked. It's fantastic.
It is. The actual turnout has been amazing, and I've just come away from the organiser's office and been talking to the gentleman there that does the registration, and he has told me that today in particular we've had around about a third again of visitors coming to the show. We try to capture all their information, and we do know that these influential visitors that come to the show are predominantly decision makers, and they're willing to purchase. So it's great news for the guys.
Yeah, it's very businessy, and you only run for 3 days at the moment. Do you think you're going to have to expand this? Surely.
I think the nice thing about it only being 3 days is the fact that it's so exclusive. And actually, what happens is that people decide that when they come to an event like this, rather than it's almost like when you go away for a weekend, isn't it? When you go away for a weekend, you try to cram everything in those 3 days, whereas if you go away for a 2-week holiday, you often have those days when you can just relax and do absolutely nothing. Whereas I think the nice thing about having 3 days, it means that there's just so much activity, because you know you've got to cram it all in.
Yeah, busy.
And Leanne, there is something very exciting happening. I was very delighted to be here when the announcement was made. You're on the move.
We are. We would like to say that the venue, the identity of the actual exhibition itself, the branding and the brand value of this exhibition isn't changing. This is still going to be about the infrastructure of the sea, whether you're working the sea, whether you're in commercial diving, whether you're putting up a wind farm. what this show tries to cover is not just workboats, it tries to cover the infrastructure of the whole sea. That isn't going to change. What is going to change is the venue. We're going to get better. We've listened to the actual exhibitors. We're going to get some better facilities for them. We need more space. We need area for growth. And that is what the Southampton City Council have been working so hard with Mercator Media, the organisers of Seawork, to get a great venue for our exhibitors. And they've come up with the stonking one, which is Mayflower Park.
Yeah, it's going to be familiar to people who are listening to this, because obviously it's part of the central part of the Southampton Boat Show. So what does Mayflower Park give you that this show can't?
Well, the main thing that people want to come and see at this event is the actual vessels on afloat, the vessels outside on the water. Sunny day like today, whether you're going to procure ribs for a police force or for the RNLI or for a working boat chartering to a renewable farm, what you want to do is actually go out on that boat. And so what we're trying to do is find more water, more berths, so people can bring vessels to the show, because it really does attract the visitors. And so Mayflower Park, we can actually just keep going with regards to putting water, things on the water. So that's what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah, certainly this year I've noticed, Leanne, it's chock-a-block out there, isn't it?
Yeah. We had a waiting list for vessels afloat about 6 months ago. So if we can, it's so sad that we have to turn people away. So if we can bring more to the event and let people come in and bring their vessels to it, that's what we aim to achieve.
Exciting news for Southampton. It's going to mean a lot to them, isn't it?
Well, I think it's always been seen as a maritime part of the world, and I think that they wanted to keep, this has always been known as the Southampton Show, and they wanted to keep that legacy here with Southampton. So, we've come up together, worked hard, because Mayflower Park is a national park, but we also want to make sure that we use the facilities that will also bring people to this local community. And I would like to say that the 600 exhibitors, although they're from 70 different countries, of those 600 exhibitors, 184 are from the actual Solent area. And it's not just about coming to the event, it's about what it does for the local community. I should imagine that yesterday evening there wouldn't have been a hotel available, there wouldn't have been a taxi driver that wasn't fully employed, and I should imagine it would have been quite difficult if you hadn't pre-booked to get into a restaurant.
Leanne, I know why you've lost your voice. You've been having a very, very busy 3 days.
I'm afraid.
Leanne, thank you. Fantastic. Go home and have a rest, okay?
With a few lozenges, I think, Shelley.
Well, we're not having a rest, TC. Come on, let's go. Explore the show.
H2O on BBC Radio Solent.
I've found the Marine Manufacturing Showcase, which is a very interesting little setup of slightly smaller companies, but they've all come under one big umbrella. And the managing director is Andrew Sims. Andrew, tell me about the setup we've got here.
Okay, well, the showcase is really, the concept is very simple. It's small companies sharing a space, promoting their products and services to the marine sector. Mainly made up of southern-based companies. In fact, over 2/3 of the companies on the stand at this show are based in the south, but not exclusively. We have an industry which covers the whole of the UK, and we obviously welcome anyone into that. And it's really trying to promote the companies and promote the good work that they're able to do and put out there, but without them having to spend an awful lot of time and cost and effort, because they're all busy doing what they need to do, which is making stuff.
Yeah, and they're often some of these businesses with these real specialities are one-man business, and it's expensive to have a great big stand like this. So it's lovely that you've brought everyone together here.
Yeah, it is expensive in terms of the cost of exhibiting, but it's actually more expensive for these companies in terms of the time it takes out of their business when they could be producing. So we actually give them the opportunity to come, spend a few hours, meet new customers, interact, and then they let us and they trust us, thankfully, with their businesses and with their brands to help promote them and create some work for them going forward.
Well, that is brilliant. I'm going to actually speak to Nick Rees now, who is one of your companies. Now, Nick, you're from TR Fastenings. So you're part of this marine showcase, which is obviously very helpful for you to be sort of under a bigger umbrella, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's ideal for us. We've got lots of customers coming over, not just for our product, but other products as well. And hopefully there'll be some association so that we can talk to them and take it from there, really. Yeah.
Now, explain to me what it is you do, because I mean I'm just looking at nuts and bolts and screws, to be honest.
Okay. TR Fastenings, we manufacture and distribute fasteners and fixings, so we supply to general industry, manufacturing, and for Aston Pool we do the marine industry as well.
And do you sort of like bespoke make them?
Yes, we can. Yeah, we do specialist products, we can do development work with manufacturers. We've actually got some down here.
I picked this up earlier. Now that looks like it's plastic and it's going to weigh nothing.
Right.
But it's actually very heavy and looks plastic. Explain that to me.
This is actually stainless steel, but we've developed a black coating, which is an organic coating, and we can apply it to stainless steel, copper, alloys, other mild steel as well. And it gives not only the protection of the stainless steel, but 240 hours salt spray on top. So we get an absolutely really good coating. It's a nice, smooth coating. It's a good finish. And if you just have a look at these ones here, these are the threaded fasteners. And again, there's no glooping in the threads. There's no mashing up or anything.
Yeah.
So we get a really good, clean finish. And it's just what we're looking for. And it's just what the boat builders are looking for when they're using them as well.
Thank you very much, Nick. I'm going to move on to another one of your companies. Good luck with the show. Now, moving on to another business here. This is Chris Clayton, Managing Director of BH Fabrications. You're no stranger, Chris, to this show. I think it's your 6th year.
That's right, Shelley. Yes, we've been coming year after year. It's been a very good show for us this year.
Now, just explain to... I mean, I know exactly what you do because this is my world, but just explain to me what these incredible stainless works of art are doing.
This is one of the products we make at our factory over in Hyde Marina, and it's the prop deflector. It has basically two versions. There's a flood defence guard or a beach rescue guard. The beach rescue guard, which we make for the RNLI, and flood rescue for such people as Lincolnshire Fire Brigade and others.
So you're talking about when you've got the rescue boats going down the rivers, picking people out. They obviously don't want people to get sucked up into the propeller.
That's correct, but it's also mainly as a protective device for the props. So the flood rescue one's debris passes through, but it protects large objects from breaking the propeller. So it enables the crews to carry on their important work.
Now, how important is the Seawork show to you?
It's for this application in commercial for rescue boats. It's very important. We see a lot of our customers here. We get a chance to meet people that come from as far as Aberdeen or from the Netherlands. So it's very useful to get everyone together in the space of 3 days. 3 very busy days for us.
Yeah, it certainly is. Well, Chris, thank you very much. I could stay here on this showcase all afternoon and look at all the products. But we're going to go and explore more of the show now, so thank you.
Shelley.
Well, TC, I've had a fantastic time on the Marine Showcase. Where are you?
Jo Dixie Goodwin from PSP, Marketing Director. How's Seawork gone for you this year?
Of all of the shows that we go to, Seawork is our favourite. It's the most productive as far as business goes. We have had some amazing inquiries since we've been here, and I know that's a staple comment that everyone says when they're at a boat show, but I actually mean this. We've had some really exciting inquiries, so it's very positive for us.
And over the years, I mean, you actually started in this kind of industry, the commercial industry. Obviously, people know you a bit better now, aligned to the Southampton Boat Show. But over the years, you were telling me, you've had some quite interesting commercial contracts, haven't you?
We've done all sorts. I think we started off with ferry boats. We've moved all the ferries from the Solent. So we've done White Link, we've done the Red Jets, we've done all sorts of boats around here. But we're very involved in some quite cool project work at the moment. So, for instance, we helped a oil exploration company go to the Falklands. We took all of their equipment there, and they did some research, and they found some oil, and we helped make it happen, I suppose.
Didn't bring you back a penguin or anything?
No, they didn't.
That's a shame.
I think that's probably a good thing. I haven't got the right house for that.
Obviously, wind farm vessels here are amazing. There are some superb vessels out there. Do you get involved in that industry at all?
We do. We're actually I've got some on the water at the moment on the way back from the Philippines, so that's a big side, and of course that's growing as well. There's a big market for it here and so much funding in the UK, but we definitely see a lot more traffic coming over for that market.
And the visitors here, are they the sort of quality that you're looking for?
Yeah, it's people are here to do business. They're here for the same reasons that we're here. They're not just here to look at the boats, which obviously is brilliant at a leisure show, but it's a completely different market. And it's all done in a very not too formal atmosphere, so it's very easy to sit down, have a drink and have a chat and get some good business done. We value Seawork immensely and really looking forward to next year in Southampton in Mayflower.
Park.
Yeah.
That's an exciting move, I think. Is it filling you with excitement?
I think so. I think we've outgrown it here. I think as a venue, we've come to our limits, and everybody loves it here. It will still be in the docks. We'll still be able to see the amazing backdrop that we have here, but we'll just have a bit more space, and I think that's obviously what Seawork needs to be able to grow.
Any other exciting news from the show?
As I say, we've had some incredible inquiries. One of them was to charter a whole aeroplane from the Middle East to South America. So that was a really exciting inquiry. We're working on it at the moment, and we'll probably have the answer as to whether we've got that job within the next week. So we've also got, again, as I was saying about the wind farm boats, we've got a couple of other work boats that are coming over, and we've got a contract that we're about to sign that I'm reluctant to say too much about, but it's for 2 45-metre boats coming over, so it's a huge contract. Again, wait and see, watch this space.
Because it's not just all about moving boats with you, it's the planning and the logistics behind it, isn't it?
Absolutely, and actually as far as our business goes, it's only 20% of our business is the boat side of things. The project side, we've been involved with some really exciting other projects, with UKTI for instance, and some really exciting stuff. So the boats, although that's a big part of our business, you're right, the logistical side of it, there's so much planning, especially when you're loading a vessel and putting boats on top of a ship. It's not an easy thing to do, so...
But exciting,
very exciting. Yeah, we've got lots on, so it's all good.
Jo, you look very busy. Thank you very much indeed for
you.
taking the time to talk to us.
No worries, thank you, bye.
This is H2O. I'm Shelley, Jory-Leigh, and this week the programme is being recorded at Seawork International. Well, I'm actually at one of the award winners from the Innovations Showcase award ceremony. It's Fairlock's Pool Products. Paul Webb is the director. Now, Paul, I have got in my hand a very clever drill, haven't I?
You have indeed, yes. It's a great piece of kit. As far as we're aware, it's the only one of its type in the world. It's a fully submersible, cordless underwater drill. It can be used up to 50-metre water depth, variable speed, reversible action, variable torque action.
Oh, it's even got a torch on it.
So it's got, 2 funky little LED lights on the front there, with a battery, 18-volt replaceable battery, rechargeable battery. It's a great piece of kit.
Is there any certain depth it can go?
Its maximum operating depth is 50 metres. Standard operating.
That's a lot.
It is a lot, yeah. The guys on the dive tank were saying that it probably would never be used at that depth, in all honesty. They reckon sort of between 10 and 20 metres would be an optimum operating depth for it.
It's going to save people time, effort, lifting boats out. I mean, it's an underwater drill. It's every man's dream.
Well, it is a bit of a boys' toys thing, really, and lots of divers have come along and expressed a great interest in it, that's for sure. So, very pleased. It's been a phenomenal 3 days for us, actually.
Well done, especially well done for your Innovations
I'm
Award.
so proud to have received it. First time in the exhibition, so absolutely delighted.
OK, I have just seen an amazing underwater drill. What have you seen, TC?
Well, Shelley, as you know, I'm a bit of a lover, like you, of shiny things, and I found some very shiny things here. Trevor Banting, just tell me a little bit more about your company.
Our company is Aluminium Boat Building Company. We build chiefly commercial craft down on the south coast at Hayling Island. We have clients ranging all around the world. We've done ferries and wind farm catamarans, so it's a very varied mix of craft that we've been involved in.
Now, I say shiny because obviously some of the aluminium boats, if I can say it this afternoon, do look lovely and shiny, okay. But presumably you can coat them with all sorts of things, can't you?
We generally leave them unpainted because the more work you do to them means more maintenance in the future. So if you can bear to see an aluminium boat unpainted, that's probably the best way of leaving it.
I'm always fascinated. This south coast, there are all sorts of companies in the marine industry sort of buried away in different places. You're in Hayling Island, so how big is your facility and how many boats do you build?
We have a fairly large facility in as far as we've got a lot of units down there, but our business varies from time to time depending on the contracts that we have. We've had as many as 20 people and as few as 10 people working for us, so it does vary depending on the contract.
Now, you really have got the pick of the positions here at Seawork. We've actually just seen one of the most enormous container ships come by, but you're looking at all these glorious boats on the marina. Has it been a good Seawork for you?
It's been a good Seawork. It's the one event that everybody gets together, so not only you're meeting new clients, you're meeting your suppliers as well, and it's a good networking event, so generally speaking, It's a show that we love to come to, and long may it continue.
And when you talk about networking, I presume that it's really where you make those contacts for future. Because I'm getting the feeling in the commercial industry that it's not always immediacy, is it? It's meeting a person and then 3 years down the line they may need something.
That's right. In the actual fact, we've actually spoken to people here at shows, and the following year we've actually displayed the boat that they've ordered. So some of these take 2 or 3 years to come to fruition. So it's a very varied mix of people. You never can tell.
So what's the biggest craft you build?
The biggest boat we've built to date is the Channel Chieftain. She's a 19-metre catamaran that was used chiefly in the wind farm industry. She's actually working out in German waters under a certificate of equivalence for DMV, which is actually a first of its type.
Go back a minute. Explain to me. Certificate of equivalence.
In the UK, we tend to build to MCA quality standards. DNV is what everybody seems to want nowadays. And the skipper from Channel Chieftain, Pat Carling, has been very astute in the way that he's worked it. He's actually been able to get the MCA to give a certificate of equivalence to DNV standards. So it's probably the first of its kind, and hopefully there'll be a few more to follow, because why shouldn't the British surveyors do the same as everybody else?
Yeah. And that means that those boats can then operate in European waters.
In European waters, absolutely, yeah.
It's very exciting to think of these boats being built in Hayling, and off they go all over the world to do their job. How long have you been in the industry?
30 years, unfortunately, or fortunately. It's paid the mortgage, so it's been very good, yes.
You look very relaxed. You obviously enjoy it.
I enjoy it. I go to work with a smile on my face, come over with a smile on my face.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Trevor. It's been lovely to talk to you. Hold on. There's Shelley. I'll catch up with her. Thanks, Trevor.
There are some amazing boats out here, but I haven't got a clue what that is.
Now that I do know all about, because I had a lovely chat with a Dutchman earlier on in the week. This is the Damen on Water Showcase. Do you see that tug up there?
Yeah.
I made a really big mistake, because I said to him, gosh, it's enormous. And he said, no, it is the smallest tug in our range. It is only 10 metres. And that is the smallest tug in their range. They do the most amazing. All of that on top of this pontoon, and when I say all of that, that's a fast patrol boat next to it. That's 12 metres.
Yeah.
The other one there is a large decked, let me see if I can get this right, a large decked multi-catamaran.
Right.
And then behind it you've got a modular barge. And they're all made by Damen, and what they're on is a massive, he called it a dumb barge, a dumb pontoon. So what they do is they ballast that down, and then they can put things on it for the oil and gas industry, and it just gets dragged along by a ship. Incredible, isn't it?
It's basically like a pontoon wherever you want it in the world to store things on and put things on.
And the other thing that is really clever that you will be interested in, inside that Damen container, is what they call their ballast water treatment unit. Because apparently there are new regulations coming in that you actually now have to treat your ballast water, the water that goes down in the tanks, before you actually send it out to sea. Because obviously, well, the water in the ballast, as you well know, water in the bottom is pretty horrible in the bilges, isn't it?
Yes.
And so they have formerly just pumped it out. Now they actually have to treat it before it goes out, and it goes out as clean water. So some fascinating things on there. I love all these boats.
That is amazing. No,
I want to go out on every single one of them.
I know, we need all 3 days here solidly. But actually I have just noticed that is I think that's a dunk test. No, it's a dive tank over there.
The H2O Show
on BBC Radio Solent.
I'm Tracey Clarke, and this is the H2O Show, and we're recording it at Seawork International, a very sunny Seawork International. Now, I've just dragged you off your beautiful boat here. This is Mark Drew, who's commercial manager of Seacat Services. You're based on the Isle of Wight. You and I had a great chat earlier on, all about Navitas Bay, the proposed development, how it's going to affect. Tell me a little bit more about the session that was here this week. There was a particular conference, wasn't there, that you all attended?
Yeah, there was a Meet the Buyer event where Navitas Bay themselves and some of their Tier 1 contractors, their main contractors for the work, if they get the go-ahead, would be able to see where local companies could offer their services to them. That can range from anything like the services we offer of the crew transfer vessels, right down to making sandwiches for the technicians. So, there's all sorts of opportunities that these developments bring up. So it's important that people are aware of that, and they can see any, places where they might be able to grow their businesses.
Yeah.
So.
You said there was some good news that they were talking about very much using local suppliers.
Yeah, that's right. In the conference there, they're looking to really have a very high percentage of local content. Historically, that's been very difficult with a lot of the contractors being from Germany and Denmark and the big players, but they're looking more and more to get the UK local and regional content. So whether it's providing services like ours, or whether it's manufacturing like the foundations or the towers or any of the structures around.
Yeah.
So it's they're trying to get that local content level much higher than any other previous UK wind farm, which is
really, really good to hear. And you can hear behind us the engines just starting up on your Seacat Courageous. This is one of the vessels, isn't it, that goes out to the wind farms?
Yeah, that's correct. This is the latest addition to our fleet. So we have a couple of great big engines, MTU 12Vs and Rolls-Royce water jets. We take the guys out to a wind farm so that they can get to the wind turbines, do the work that they need to do, get them back home safely at the end of the day. So
how many of these vessels are likely to be working if the proposed development goes ahead?
Well, I would estimate from our previous experience elsewhere that for the size of farm during the construction phase, we'd probably be talking somewhere in the region of 30 to 40 of these vessels.
Wow. And this is a big vessel here.
Well,
how many people does this take?
Well, most of them are 12, and now there's some more legislation coming through which will allow you to take 24 industrial personnel, so not passengers as such, because that's a much broader range of people. So these are trained technicians. Yeah. So it would equate to about 300 people working on site.
That's an incredible number. And where are they likely to embark from if they're going to go out to it's just off the Dorset coast, isn't it?
Yeah, well, my understanding is at the moment there's 3 ports that are sort of in the running to become the base port. Yarmouth on the Isle of Wight, Poole and Portland. So I understand they'll be running some test runs as to how long it takes, because time is precious, and how much fuel it takes to get you out there. So they'll be looking a bit more closely at that as once they get their permission granted. So.
Yeah, we were talking to the Yarmouth Harbour Master about it. I think you're very keen, aren't you, because you're an Isle of Wight based company?
Well, exactly, yeah, and the more that comes through the Isle of Wight for us is great news to help the economy there. So
it really is an exciting time for everybody, and it must have been an exciting time in that conference too. There's a lot of sort of eager anticipation at the moment.
Yeah, I think everybody's looking to see how they can make their businesses facilitate the needs that these people are going to have when they're here. They could be long-term needs. It could be 20 years worth of work, that you could be gaining from it. So it's definitely worthwhile taking a look at it and seeing if you can market yourself in the right way to fit with their requirements. So.
Great. Well, good luck with it. I won't disturb you any longer because the show is sort of coming almost to a winding halt, and I know you've got a boat to catch. So.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're warming up the engines, so I better be getting on this.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. That's Mark Drew there, Commercial Manager for Seacat Services. Now, I have a horrible feeling that Shelley might just have found that dive tank.
TC, I'm in the dive tank. I can only describe it to you as, the film Silence of the Lambs, when they put the prisoner in the sort of cast iron cell. Well, that's what I'm in. But I do have somebody who knows what they're talking about, I hope. Josh Ryan, commercial diver for Hughes Subsurface Engineering. Are we in a dive tank?
Yeah, you could call it a dive tank, yes. Yep. We use it for a lot of tool training and stuff like that. If clients want to see the divers using specific tools before they go out and use them in the line of duty and stuff like that. So before they go out into the sort of renewable wind fields and stuff like that, or the oil and gas industry, they can see us using cutting gear, welding gear and stuff like that before it actually gets put into action.
Right, so I mean, it's absolutely solid. Where is this usually based on land somewhere, or it's obviously quite portable because you've bought it here to Seaworks?
Yeah, it's very mobile. We can load it onto the back of a lorry and take it to shows and things like that, and do displays and things like that, whatever required of us, really.
Okay, so you fill it up with water. So where we're standing would be full of water.
Yeah.
Right, and then people come in, get underwater in diving gear, obviously, and test drills and...
Yeah, whatever sort of task we get set by our supervisor, sort of we come in here and sort of undertake the task best we can.
And why is it built... I mean, I know it's built solidly so the water doesn't run out, but this seems like beyond solid. This looks like you could actually put it in water?
It's pretty much built like the hull of a vessel to keep the water in instead of keeping the water out. So it's reinforced and everything like that with all the portholes and everything like that. So just because the volume of water it holds, the pressure and the tonnage of the water is really great.
Yeah.
So
do people ever come in here and practice survival drills and things like that?
There has been survival drills performed in it, not by ourselves, but other companies and stuff like that. So it's quite a versatile tank. It can be used for sort of most sort of needs, really.
Do you get to test the drills, or are you just in here as the sort of safety diver in case it goes wrong?
We get a lot of toys sent here that we get to play with, sort of
toys.
Drill. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So you've got your little motorised duck going on the top of the water.
Yeah, the squeaky duck and my motorised boat and stuff. So expensive bath toys.
How much water does it actually hold?
The tank can hold either 17 tonnes of water or 17 cubic metres, whatever sort of measurement you like to work in. About half an average size swimming pool. So you're looking at about 2 hours to fill up, and then about the same to sort of drain away again. So there's a fair bit of water in here, so you wouldn't like to front the water bill for it, I don't think.
No, so presumably during Seaworks International you got it straight out of Southampton water, did you?
No, because you wouldn't actually be able to see a great deal through it. Unfortunately, this isn't the Caribbean, it is Southampton docks, so we're actually using fresh water in here, so it's straight out the tap.
Wow, I should have come for a swim. It would have been luxurious.
Yeah.
You've even got cameras up there as well. What is that for? Is that to sort of see how the products are going?
We have a large TV screen on the ADC stand, so the guys can sort of explain what we're doing and stuff like that, run through what tools we're using and the procedures we go through and stuff like that. So it's sort of the all-seeing eye, really. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good. Thank you very, very much.
You're very welcome.
Josh, I know you've had a great show, and you're packing down as I stand here. The water's all gone, so I think I'm going to get out before you take my walls away. That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
No worries, thank you.
Right, I need to get out. Tracey, where are you?
Well, we're back inside Seawork now, and I have to say, before this year's Seawork, I did not know anything about ultrasonic thickness gauges. I bet nobody else did either. But I did find a man who could tell me all about them. And I actually think they're incredible pieces of machinery. So, Mark Harris, you're from Cygnus Instruments. Tell me more about ultrasonic thickness gauges.
Well, ultrasonic thickness gauges are for measuring anything metal that can corrode to make sure that it's still thick enough to do the job that it was intended for. Simple things from lampposts. A number of years ago, one fell over in the street in London. Dead of night, not a problem. If that happens during the day, it could land on somebody, it could be fatal. They can't get a caliper to measure these things because they can't get to both sides of the metal, so they need to find another way of doing it without destroying it. With ultrasonics, you send a pulse of ultrasound through and it receives back into the crystal, and the crystal and the equipment between them time how long that's taken, and from knowing how long that's taken, it can determine just how thick that is, so you can work out.
It's such a clever thing to do. And in front of me here, I've got, these are a new set of gauges, haven't you, that you've brought out. They look a bit like, just to describe it for radio, they look a bit like sort of sat-navs, is a description, but on the end of it, there is this probe. Now, what's inside here? This is the important bit, isn't it?
You've got a piezoelectric crystal inside, very similar to the sort of thing that lights your gas fire. It receives a shock of electricity, which makes it expand or contract. That's what sends out the ultrasound. It sends out 3 echoes. The first one goes through the coating or the corrosion to the back wall of the metal. In effect, the second and third echoes are only going through the metal itself. Disregard the first echo. So for that reason, all you're reading is the metal and not the coating, so you don't have to take the coating off.
It's so clever, isn't it? So people, how would this work then? The divers would take this down, and is there a sort of set time that you'd leave a ship and then say, right, we need to go back, we need to test it? Is that how it works?
With Lloyd's, I believe it's every 5 years. A ship has to be completely tested out and recertified.
Well, it's fascinating. It's something I didn't know anything about, and that's what I love about Seawork, is that you can come here, find a product you knew nothing of. Have you had a good Seawork?
Yeah, it's been very good.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed to Mark Harris, sales engineer. And I'm off to find Shelley again now.
Well, I've dried off, I've come back inside, and I have met up with Howard Kelsall, MD of Searchwise Limited. Now, he has got what I think is a dive helmet on his stand, but it doesn't look like the one that we sort of normally see. Howard, why is this so special?
Well, it originated from a gentleman in Switzerland called Beat Engel, and he was, I think, originally the 6th fastest veteran downhill skier as a profession, and he built ski helmets out of composite materials.
Right.
But he's also a trained commercial diver, and there was always a complaint about the American helmets always having the 95% of the market worldwide, and they were very protective about it. He wanted to build something which was European, which was an equivalent. So he designed the helmet, built it from his own ideas. It does exactly what any other air diving hat would do, but it's simpler to maintain. These sort of screws you can actually get from a wholesaler, a hardware store, should you need to replace them.
Does that actually open that bit?
No, that's a nose block. On the inside there is an oral nasal mask which fits over your face for breathing and for communication, because there's a small microphone in there, and that actually has a little V on the end of it, and therefore when you want to clear your ears because of the pressure as you go down, you can actually put that up against your nose, and therefore you can blow against your ears. It clears your ears.
Like your nose, like you're holding onto your nose.
Yes, and when it's not required, it's pulled out, and so it's moved away and not any form of restriction.
So how deep can you go with one of these?
Oh, that's into physics, which we haven't got enough time for, I wouldn't have thought.
Definitely not with me.
No.
Definitely not.
It's all to do with the pressure relation. And whatever the pressure is inside the hat has to equal the water pressure on the outside of the hat.
Yeah.
But it's got to be slightly more positive so that you can breathe easily. Otherwise, you would be fighting against an equalised pressure.
I mean, this is serious stuff.
It can go a lot deeper, but health and safety restrictions within the United Kingdom limit air diving to 50 metres.
Oh, wow.
But you can then go on to a mixture of enriched gas, which is, as you know, air is 79% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, plus a few other strange gases. If you increase the oxygen level, it becomes enriched oxygen. So you have greater oxygen, lesser nitrogen. You can still dive on this sort of a helmet with that, but invariably you don't go any deeper than 50 metres.
No.
But you can stay within that 50 metre range, but a lot longer than you would do if you were diving on air, because you've got less nitrogen in your bloodstream.
Okay, you have slightly lost me, but I'm still with you a little bit. Now, this helmet here looks very different to the one on the poster over there.
Yes.
Is it, or
that's
is it...
the American type.
Ah, so that's what he's trying to better.
And that's what he's trying to compete with. But he's constantly, because he's a very clever, typical Swiss engineer, he's constantly developing and making and doing other things. And he's got now a dry helmet, which they use for breathing in confined spaces, going down tunnels and into ships' tanks and things, for being supplied by gas from the surface. But they're well protected and sealed, so therefore there's no contamination coming there.
Amazing. Wow, you've completely baffled me with science, Howard. Thank you very much, and good luck here at Seawork.
Because I'm a technophobe, I don't really know that much about it at all.
You certainly do, and thank you.
I've just been in the industry an awful long time.
Thank you very much.
I'm Tracey Clarke, and this is H2O. We're recording this here at Seawork International, and I have to say I've come onto this stand as a bit of a sort of personal indulgence, because earlier in the week I saw an amazing demonstration of a floating armour. But to explain it, it's very James Bond-esque. Please explain it. This is Philip Jones. He's from BCB Marine. Explain what it actually does.
Okay. This is inflatable body armour. What it actually does is, on immersion into water, it automatically inflates and keeps you up. It'll take quite a lot of poundage. It's a 275 Newton jacket. It can take an armoured plate, and what we're trying to replicate, or replace should I say, is that the current usage is they wear body armour plus life-saving equipment. This is 2-in-1 and actually makes it far easier, manoeuvrable, lighter, less daunting. And we think it's quite a unique product.
It's such a clever idea. I mean, I don't think it's actually going to be for too many leisure sailors on the Solent, because I don't think we have too many shootings. But presumably this is aimed at people who have to work in the security forces, on the water, perhaps coast guards. And so if it's hit by a bullet, why doesn't the life jacket go down?
Actually, you'd actually the life jacket would go down if you got hit by a bullet.
Right.
But what it does, it gives you protection if you fell into the water. So at the moment, there is no difference. What would happen if you fell into the water? You would wear a life jacket plus this sort of body armour.
Right. Yeah.
It just gives you far more time and manoeuvrability to defend yourself if you were attacked. It's also, we would put it in green and not yellow. This is just a prototype. And you would be covert, so hopefully they wouldn't see you in the dark.
It's a brilliant idea, because it must be incredibly bulky if you've got all that armour on and then you've got a life jacket and you know, you've got all the bits and pieces. Oh, actually, we've got a little demonstration here of the guy going in the water. This is the demonstration I saw. It is phenomenal. Something else that's just caught my eye on this stand: boat stopping systems. They sound quite dangerous. Tell me a bit more about those.
Oh, this is another thing that we've developed for anti-piracy originally, is a boat stopping system. So where they had off the coast of Somalia, where there was a lot of anti-piracy in the early days, where they were not allowed, for insurance purposes, lethal weapons on ships, we developed this system to stop raiding craft coming towards the ships, where we could just fire it with compressed air. The 150 psi. It's got a 50-metre drag, a 5-ton sea anchor, which, as long as the boat is propelled, it will catch in the prop, snag it, and disable the boat. It is totally non-lethal, so the people in the boat could either be captured or you go away from them.
It's a brilliant idea.
So we designed it to be non-lethal, as obviously there's a lot of protests. There have been instances with the USS Cole, with the US Navy, where ships have been attacked. This we've had on trial at Fastlane to protect the British nuclear submarine fleet as well. So
you have the most fascinating stand. Philip, I'm tempted to call you M rather than Philip, because this does look just like James Bond. Is there anything else on the stand? What about the unmanned air systems here?
Well, it's something we've introduced to Seawork this year. We have a few different versions, and what we're trying to do is to get a maritime version, where we've had a tremendous interest, especially in the wind farms and offshore, where you're trying to do away with inspection. At the moment they use scaffolding, it's very hazardous. With these things you get such a high resolution on the cameras that you can actually fly one of these drones, weather permitting. It's the only downside with drones, weather. Photograph things and find it. If there is something wrong, then they've got to go and fix it. But the cost saving is phenomenal in something like that.
Well, Philip, this is an incredible stand. As I say, it really is reminding me very much of M's workshop in James Bond. Have you enjoyed Seawork?
I've enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed Southampton. We've had a great welcome here. Thank you very much.
Excellent. And will you be back?
We come every year.
Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed, Philip Jones. Shelley, you would have loved this stand. There's so much here. I might drag you back in a minute.
Well, I've now found the overall winner of the Seawork Innovation Prize, which is a huge honour in itself. Paul Chauncey, Managing Director of Gobbler Boats. What do Gobbler Boats do?
Gobbler Boats are a completely new innovation. We collect oil at the rate of 40 tonnes an hour without water. We don't do it like everybody else. In fact, what we do is we pump the oil into separate bladders as we go along, and those bladders can be emptied into a separate system that we have that can be pumped onto ships. The point with us is that we don't carry, when we collect the oil, we don't collect any water with it. The oil is recoverable and reusable, and we can collect with a single boat up to 6,400 barrels a day. The recovery price for that is worth $250,000 for a single day's work. The boats are only 2 crew, they're fully hydraulic, they're fireproof, they are very economical to run, and they're totally Lloyd's approved from one end to the other. And we're the only boat in the world that can go up to 150 miles offshore.
So why has no one ever thought of this before? I mean, oil spills have been, you know, a problem for ages. I mean, we've had one locally here with the Ogasaka recently. Everyone was worried about the oil spillage from that. It seems something very unique you've done, and
it is unique in as much that the way we put it together, but what we've also done is taken, although we have our own special technology throughout the boat, we've actually taken ready-made oil skimmers, what would normally operate in a pool of oil and then be pumped into a tank on shore, and then we've adapted those to fit this special boat.
Right.
The boat itself will fit many different types of skimmers, because operators may have preferences who they work with or for, and the way it's gone into the boat is quite special. The way it actually suspends in the boat is absolutely unique. You couldn't ever think how we did that. But it raises up and down. If you want to get out to a spill quickly at 23 knots, the skimmer is in the up position and it's geometrically locked in place by its framework and the wires that hold it. As soon as you get onto the spill, you lower it down, it automatically floats, and you can control the skimmer. It's all done electronic through data cables from the helm, where if you want to start the skimmer, you can touch it, you can control the speed, it picks up,
so
and that...
You're sort of controlling like a whole PlayStation.
You are indeed.
Upstairs.
It is really a bit like a PlayStation, but the pumping systems are all programmed to meet the skimmer speed. So if you're pumping, say, 20 tons an hour, your skimmer's running, your pumps are running at half speed, and if you're running at 40 tons an hour, your pumps are automatically set. They're programmed to go full power. Now, the boat itself can work from the tropics to the Arctics. We can go into Nigeria in the shallows. We can go up rivers.
I noticed here on one of the pictures, you can even get it into the back of a plane.
We can.
So
it fits the plane.
You can be deployed anywhere.
Any way you like, because the wheelhouse itself simply unbolts and comes off if the plane hasn't got enough headroom. That's the simple procedure. We can launch it from a trailer. We can launch it from a ship or an oil rig, because the certification of 150 miles actually gives you that ability to do that.
Now, this is a brand new boat. It's been launched here at Seawork. When is it going to be in action, as it were?
Right.
I mean, I'm not wanting an oil spill.
It's gone through its sea trials. It's performed perfectly. It's already certified. We are going into production. We're hoping around in August, where we have to set up a production line. We have a brand new factory which we're having built, but that won't come on stream until the end of 2016. So in between, we've taken a big hangar in Wales where we can actually do that, get them underway. When the other factory's built, it's alongside the one where they make the mouldings for us, so they wheel out of one factory into another, and then we just assemble them and off they go.
But at the moment, you've got one great one that can be there in any emergency.
We have indeed, but that's going to the RNLI for trial, for not for trials, but for training purposes, because we give a course with every boat to make sure the crews are safe. Because not many of these boats, it's a small boat, but going out in the ocean, you know that. Going out in the ocean, it can be rough, and they need to have survival, they need to have training for navigation, and we want to make sure they're safe.
Well, congratulations, Paul, on your Seawork Innovation Award. Truly inspirational.
Well, we seem to have seen some amazing things here at Seawork. Did you see the seats?
Oh, I saw seats with tartan on, but I just thought they were a gimmick.
No, do you know why? They'd recently got a Navy contract for HMS Sutherland. It's Sutherland tartan. I want one.
I want one because it said Chief Marine Engineering gold embroidery on the top. I want my own done. That's fantastic.
Certainly do for me. I don't think they do pink, actually, Shelley.
Oh, I'm sure they would if I specially asked, with Princess Shelley embroidered on the top. Actually, I might go back and get his card.
Well, talking of Princess Shelley, you did a grand job on presenting the awards this week. You actually managed to get an entire room full of men, and men talking all different languages, to be quiet. I think it was the pictures of the powerboating that did it.
I think it was, yeah. No, it was a really lovely evening. Loads of people there, and some really amazing awards. Some awards went completely over my head because I was reading technical jargon to me. But then others, which, I mean, my favourite, I think, it won an award on Tuesday, and it's got to be my favourite in the show, is the electric underwater drill. Well, it's not electric, is it? No, it can't be. The underwater drill. Yeah. I thought that was very, very clever. But you've been here all week. I mean, you have seen 3 days of great atmosphere here.
It's extraordinary. I mean, one, it's definitely busier than any other year I've ever been to. Wednesday was heaving, and Thursday today is normally quite quiet, but actually also still heaving. The thing that I like about Seawork is it stretches my brain. I'll go around the corner and I'll learn something that I didn't know anything about before, like the thickness gauges, the ultrasonic thickness gauges. There are so many things here that so many clever people. You know, they must be sitting in their factories thinking, right, is there something that needs a solution? Yeah, I'm going to come up with it. It's extraordinary.
Well, that was like the Gobbler Boots man I've just seen to, Paul. You know, how come no one else has thought about a boat that can suck up oil? I mean, to us it seems quite normal, and I can't believe it's not already out there, but it's not, and he's invented it, and
he won an award, and I'll resist the pun of saying it's no turkey. Gobbler, no, never mind.
Right, I've had